Hi, this is Tamara from mooglyblog.com, and in this video I'm going to be demonstrating how to make Lion Brand Yarn's Royal Triangle Shawl. That's a free pattern you can find on lionbrand.com. Once again, that's Royal Triangle Shawl. It uses Lion Brand's Heartland and a K-hook. In this case, I'll be using one by Furls. This is a triangle shawl. I've tried to get most of it in the screen here, but you saw a picture up at the beginning of the video. Basically, it's pretty simple. It's rows of single crochet followed by rows of double crochet mesh here. So I'm going to demonstrate how to make it, and let's get started. Okay, so we're going to begin again with our Lion Brand Heartland yarn. This is a great yarn with some nice color variation in it, built right in, which gives a little bit more depth, I guess I should say, to projects, which is pretty neat. We're going to start with our slipknot on the hook, the way we begin most projects, especially those worked in rows. And then we start with a chain 2, 1 and 2, like so. Then what we're going to do is we're going to work 3 single crochets in the second chain from the hook. So that's this one right here, the one furthest away, the one we made first. So we're going to go in there. I like to go into that back loop, but you can go into whatever part of the chain you prefer. So 1, these are just regular single crochets, pull up a loop, 2, go back in that same space again, pull up a loop, and 3. All right, and then from here on out, all of our single crochet rows are going to be exactly the same in this pattern. We're going to start with a chain 1, and then turn and go back the other direction. Grab that again here. We put 2 single crochets right in the first stitch. So this one right here. We do 1, then 2, like so. Pull up a little more yarn. Then we do 1 single crochet in each of the stitches until there's only 1 stitch left. Of course, at this point, there's only 1 stitch left after that one. So in this next one, we do 2 single crochets, just like we did the first one. So 2 single crochets in the first stitch, then single crochet in each stitch till there's 1 stitch left, 2 single crochets in that one. And that's how we get that great triangle shape. You can see it's already starting right here. So I'm going to continue working the next 4 rows like this. So rows up to row 6, I'm going to put 2 single crochets in the first stitch here. Sorry about that, I had to pull up some more yarn. So 2 single crochets in the first stitch, single crochet in each stitch until there's 1 left, like so. There we go. 1 stitch left on the hook, and then, 1 stitch left in the row. So then we work 2 single crochets in that one. And like I say, we keep doing that for 6 rows. Let me set that aside. And here we are. After 6 rows, you should have 13 stitches across. You can count those using those top little V's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that's rows 1 through 6. Now it is time for one of our special rows, our double crochet rows. So let me get my hook back in this one here. For that, we're going to start with a chain 3. And this chain 3 acts as our first double crochet of this row 7 here. Then I'm going to work a double crochet in the first stitch. So it's kind of like an increase. Because that chain 3 counts as a double crochet, it's like having 2 double crochets right in that first stitch. Then we double crochet in the next stitch, like so. Then we chain 1, skip 1, and double crochet in the next stitch. And we keep doing that until there's only 1 stitch left in this one. So let's do that again here. After you double crochet, you chain 1, yarn over, skip the next stitch, double crochet in there. Skip the next stitch, double crochet in the next one. Don't forget that chain 1 in between your double crochets. That gives us that nice blocky mesh. We're almost to the end here, so we'll chain 1, yarn over, skip 1, double crochet in the next one, like so. And you can see we've got just one stitch left here. So in this very last stitch, we'll work 2 double crochets. So you can see that kind of follows the pattern that we worked in our single crochets too, where we've always got 2 stitches in the first and last row to keep that triangle shape going. After that, it's back to single crochets. So we've got row 8, we're going to chain 1, work a single crochet in each of the stitches and each of the chain spaces, but again, make sure you work 2 in the first one and 2 in the last one. So 2 single crochets in that first stitch, then single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. Then we come to a chain 1 space, so we just single crochet right in the chain 1 space. You don't have to worry about going right into the chain or which loops are on the hook right there. Just go ahead and put your hook right in that space. Much easier. Pull up a loop, single crochet. Then in the next stitch, then in the next chain 1 space, then in the next stitch, on across until you get to the last one. Let's see here. We're almost there. That was our last chain 1 space. So we've got a stitch, and then we've got that chain 3. Remember that counted as our first double crochet. So this is the one fiddly part here. We'll want to go right into that top of the chain 3 there, the top chain, and treat it as the top of a double crochet stitch with 2 single crochets worked right in there. And then from there, rows 9 through 15 will be another set of single crochet stitches, 1 in each with 2 on each end, just like we did before. Let me pull up the finished shawl here. We can kind of take a little look. Let me find the bottom point here. There we go. Okay, so you can see this was rows 1 through 6, then row 7, then through 15, then another row of these. Basically, the pattern just keeps growing and growing because we're always adding an extra stitch on each end, but it's a set of 8 rows of single crochet followed by a row of double crochet mesh. And that is really all there is to it. The pattern has you to keep going until the last row should have 139, I believe it is. Let me double check that. Yes, 139 single crochets across. You can see there's our little corner. There's no border listed for this pattern, although you should have more than enough yarn to do it with. It calls for 2 balls of Heartland, and you don't use all of the second balls. So if you wanted to, you could go ahead and work a border on there. Or if you find that you want your shawl to be wider, just work another repeat. Keep going. You don't even have to worry about how many repeats. Just keep making that repeat of the double crochet row followed by the single crochet rows until you have the shawl the size you like. And that's really all there is to the Royal Triangle Shawl. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and that you give it a try using Lion Brand's Heartland yarn. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.